Ethan was a young man from Earth. He was not a soldier or a famous hero. He was just an engineer, someone who liked to fix things and help people. But his life changed the day his ship was captured by aliens far from home. The aliens were tall, with strange eyes and smooth blue skin. They ruled their world with strict rules. Humans were rare here, and many aliens thought humans were weak and simple. When Ethan was brought before the alien leaders, he did not know what would happen to him. He was scared but tried to stay calm. One day, an alien noble called Lord Karen came to see Ethan. Lord Karen did not care about humans. He thought they were only good for working and serving aliens. To show his power, Lord Karen decided to give Ethan a gift. He gave him a young alien girl named Myra. Myra was not free. She was told she had to obey Ethan, to be his servant and do whatever he said. Ethan was shocked. He had never owned anyone in his life. In his world, people were free and equal. He did not want Myra to be his slave. But the aliens were watching him, and he was afraid to say no. Ethan looked at Myra. She was quiet and kept her eyes down. She did not speak. Ethan could see she was afraid too. They were taken to a small house on the edge of the alien city. The house was simple, with only a few rooms and some old furniture. The aliens left them there and locked the door behind them. Ethan and Myra were alone. At first, the silence was heavy. Ethan did not know what to say. Myra stood in the corner, her arms crossed, watching him with wary eyes. Ethan tried to speak gently. "My name is Ethan," he said. "I don't want to hurt you." Myra did not answer. She thought Ethan would treat her badly, just like others had done. She did not trust humans or aliens. She waited for Ethan to order her around or yell at her. But Ethan did not do any of those things. He sat on a small chair and looked out the window. He felt lonely and lost. The next morning, Ethan woke up early. He found some food in the kitchen and made a simple breakfast. He placed a plate on the table and pushed it toward Myra. She looked at the food, then at Ethan. She was surprised. She thought Ethan would eat first and leave her nothing. But he waited and let her eat before him. Day by day, Ethan tried to be kind. He spoke to Myra in a soft voice and never forced her to do anything. When he needed help fixing something in the house, he asked, not ordered. Myra watched him closely. She did not understand why he was different from others. One afternoon, Ethan found Myra in the small garden behind the house. She was picking alien fruit, her hands moving quickly. He went outside and picked fruit with her. They worked in silence, but Ethan smiled at her. For the first time, Myra felt a little less afraid. Later that week, a strong storm hit the city. The roof of the house began to leak. Water dripped onto the floor, making a mess. Ethan climbed up and tried to fix the roof. He slipped and cut his hand on a sharp piece of metal. Myra saw his injury and ran to help him. She took his hand and wrapped it in a clean cloth. Ethan thanked her and smiled. Myra felt strange inside, like she wanted to trust him. In the evenings, Ethan would sit by the window and tell Myra stories about Earth. He spoke about big cities, green parks, and children playing in the rain. Myra listened quietly. She had never heard about Earth before. She started to ask questions, and Ethan answered with patience. Myra began to help Ethan with daily chores. They cleaned the house, cooked meals, and fixed broken things together. Myra learned how to make simple human food. Ethan taught her how to use some tools. When Myra made a mistake, Ethan did not get angry. He showed her how to do it better next time. Slowly, Myra's fear began to fade. She saw that Ethan was not like other humans or aliens. He never shouted or hurt her. He respected her, even though the aliens said she was just a slave. Myra started to feel safe with Ethan. She even laughed at his funny stories. Some of the neighbors watched them through their windows. They could not believe that a human and an alien slave were living together in peace. Some of them whispered and pointed, but Ethan and Myra tried to ignore them. They only had each other, and that was enough. One night, Myra could not sleep. She sat by the window, looking at the stars. Ethan woke up and saw her there. He sat beside her and asked if she was all right. "I am afraid," Myra said softly. "I do not want to be a slave. I want to be free." Ethan listened to her and nodded. He understood her pain. "I promise I will never treat you like a slave," he said. "I want you to be happy." Myra looked at Ethan and saw truth in his eyes. She felt a warm feeling in her chest. She began to hope that maybe, just maybe, her life could be different with Ethan. The days passed and the small house became a home. Ethan and Myra shared their hopes and dreams. They worked together, learned from each other, and started to build a quiet friendship. For the first time, Myra felt that she was not alone in the world. And for the first time, Ethan felt he had a reason to keep going even so far from home. Their story was just beginning. Ethan and Myra slowly got used to living together in the small house. Every day they woke up early and worked side by side. At first, everything felt strange and new. Myra had never lived with a human before. She was used to people giving her orders or ignoring her completely. Ethan was different. He was patient and gentle, even when things were hard. One morning, Ethan showed Myra how to cook a simple breakfast. He took some flour and water and made a kind of flatbread. Myra watched him closely, trying to learn every step. When she tried to make the bread herself, she spilled some flour on the floor and looked embarrassed. Ethan only smiled and helped her clean up the mess. He told her it was okay to make mistakes, and she felt better. After breakfast, they fixed a broken chair together. Ethan showed Myra how to use a screwdriver. Her hands were not used to the tool, but Ethan guided her gently. When they finished, Myra smiled with pride. She had never fixed anything before. It felt good to learn something new. In the afternoons, they would walk in the garden. Myra liked to touch the strange plants and flowers. She asked Ethan about the plants from his world, and he told her about roses, sunflowers, and tall green trees. Myra listened to every word. Sometimes she tried to draw the flowers Ethan described, using an old piece of chalk on the stone wall. One day, Ethan found Myra staring at the sky, lost in thought. He asked her what she was thinking about. Myra said she wondered what Earth looked like. She had heard many things about humans, but Ethan was nothing like the stories. He was kind and never shouted or hurt her. Ethan told her about blue skies, warm sunshine, and the sound of birds in the morning. Myra closed her eyes and tried to imagine it. The days passed quickly. Myra started to feel more relaxed. She was still careful, but she began to trust Ethan more each day. When Ethan smiled, she found herself smiling back. She liked listening to his stories. He told her about his family, his little sister who loved to draw, and his father who taught him how to fix things. Ethan also learned from Myra. She taught him about her own people and their ways. She showed him how to use a special alien fruit to make a sweet drink. Ethan was surprised by how good it tasted. Myra laughed at his happy face. For a moment, it felt like they were just two friends, not a human and a slave. One evening, after a long day, they sat together on the porch. The sun was setting and the sky was turning pink and purple. Ethan asked Myra if she missed her family. Myra looked sad and nodded. She said she did not know where her family was now. She hoped they were safe. Ethan put a hand on her shoulder to comfort her. He promised that he would do whatever he could to help her. Not everything was easy. Sometimes Myra had bad dreams about her old life. She would wake up in the night shaking and afraid. Ethan always woke up and sat beside her. He told her she was safe now. Myra was grateful for his kindness, but she still worried about the future. The neighbors still talked about them. Sometimes other aliens would pass by the house and look in the windows. Some made rude comments, saying humans and aliens should not live together, but Ethan and Myra ignored them. They focused on each other and their small world inside the house. One afternoon, Myra tried to fix a broken lamp on her own. She wanted to surprise Ethan. She remembered how he had shown her to twist the wires and tighten the screws. When Ethan came inside and saw the lamp working, he clapped and laughed. He told Myra she was a fast learner. Myra felt proud. No one had ever told her she was smart before. Soon, Myra and Ethan started to make plans for the future. They talked about making the house better. They wanted to plant more food in the garden and maybe add a new room. Myra wanted a place where she could draw and paint. Ethan promised to help her. They both like having dreams, even if they did not know what would happen next. One day, a messenger came from the alien overseers. He told Ethan that he had to report to the city center in the morning. Myra was worried. She feared something bad would happen. Ethan tried to comfort her, saying he would be careful. That night, they did not sleep much. Myra stayed close to Ethan, and they talked quietly about what they would do if something went wrong. The next morning, Ethan left early. Myra waited by the window, watching for him. She felt afraid, but also strong. She told herself that she was not alone anymore. She remembered Ethan's promise to protect her. When Ethan came back, he looked tired but hopeful. He told Myra that the overseers had asked many questions about their life together. Ethan answered honestly. He said he did not want Myra to be a slave. He said he wanted her to be happy and free. Some of the overseers laughed at him, but others listened closely. Ethan did not know what would happen next, but he felt better. For speaking the truth, after that day, Myra noticed that Ethan was more determined than ever. He worked hard, always looking for ways to make their life better. Myra helped him, and together they felt stronger. They knew that the world around them was full of danger and old ideas, but they also knew they had each other. Their friendship grew with every day. They began to trust each other fully. Myra laughed more often, and Ethan smiled more. Even when things were hard, they did not give up. They faced each challenge together. For the first time in her life, Myra started to believe that things could change. She did not know what would happen tomorrow, but she knew she wanted to face it with Ethan by her side. Their story was far from over. In the little house at the edge of the alien city, a new hope was growing. The days grew colder, and the alien planet's weather became harder to live with. Myra, who was not used to the harsh climate, began to feel weak. Her skin grew dry, and she often felt dizzy. Ethan noticed these changes and grew worried. He wanted to help her, but he did not know much about alien illnesses. One morning, Myra stayed in bed while Ethan prepared breakfast alone. He brought her a warm drink made from the sweet alien fruit she had taught him to prepare. She sipped it slowly, but still looked tired. Ethan sat beside her and gently took her hand. "You should rest," he said softly. "I will take care of everything." Myra nodded but felt ashamed. She did not like being weak or needing help. She had always been told to be strong and obedient, never to show weakness. But with Ethan, things were different. She trusted him, and she let herself rest. Ethan went outside to look for medicine or supplies that might help Myra get better. He visited the nearby market and spoke with alien merchants. Some were kind and offered help, while others looked at him with suspicion. Still, Ethan kept trying, asking questions and learning about the plants and herbs that might heal Myra. One old merchant gave Ethan a small bottle filled with a thick blue liquid. He said it was a healing tonic used for weak bodies. Ethan thanked him and hurried home. That evening, Ethan gave Myra the tonic. She tasted the bitter liquid but swallowed it anyway. They waited, hoping it would help. Myra felt a little better the next day, but her strength was still low. For several days, Ethan cared for Myra like she was his own family. He made sure she ate healthy food and rested as much as possible. He stayed by her side, reading stories and telling her about Earth. To keep her spirits up, Myra felt grateful and surprised at how much he cared. One night, Myra had a bad dream. She saw herself alone in a dark place, calling for help, but no one came. She woke up crying softly. Ethan heard her and came to comfort her. He held her close and whispered, "You are not alone anymore." Myra looked into his eyes and saw kindness she had never known before. She felt a deep warmth inside. For the first time, she allowed herself to feel safe and loved. As Myra grew stronger, the two spent more time talking about their hopes. Myra told Ethan she wanted to learn more about humans and their world. Ethan promised to teach her everything he knew. He wanted her to see that life could be different, full of freedom and kindness. However, not everyone was happy about their growing closeness. Some aliens whispered in the streets, saying it was wrong for a human and an alien slave to be friends, let alone trust each other. A few neighbors even avoided their house. One afternoon, a group of alien children threw stones near Ethan and Myra's garden. Myra was frightened, but Ethan stood in front of her, protecting her. He shouted at the children to stop. The children ran away, scared of the human's loud voice. Myra was amazed by Ethan's courage. She had never seen a human stand up so strongly before. She began to believe that together they could face anything. Days later, Ethan received a visit from the alien overseers. They warned him to stop treating Myra as anything other than a slave. They said it was disrespectful and against their laws. Ethan listened but did not agree. He told them he would always treat Myra with respect and kindness. The overseers left, angry, and threatened to punish them if they did not obey. Myra was scared. She did not want Ethan to get hurt because of her. Ethan held her hand and said, "We will face this together. You are not alone." Their bond grew stronger through these hard times. They shared smiles, laughter, and quiet moments of hope. Myra started to see Ethan not just as her caretaker, but as a friend and protector. One evening, while they sat watching the stars, Myra asked, "Ethan, do you think I could ever be free? Not a slave?" Ethan looked at her with a gentle smile. "I believe that one day things will change. I will do everything I can to help you be free." Myra felt tears of hope in her eyes. She leaned on Ethan's shoulder, feeling safe and loved. Their story was still new, but it was growing into something strong. Together, they were breaking old rules and building a new future, one filled with trust, kindness, and the chance for freedom. The days passed, but trouble grew near. The alien city was full of eyes watching Ethan and Myra. Their unusual friendship caused whispers and anger among the people. Many aliens believed that a human should never treat an alien slave as an equal. They thought it was against their laws and traditions. One morning, as Ethan and Myra walked to the market, a group of alien guards stopped them. The guards looked angry and cold. They told Ethan that he was breaking the rules by treating Myra as a friend and not a slave. Ethan listened but stayed calm. "I treat Myra with respect," Ethan said. "She is not a slave to me. She is a person." The guards did not like his answer. They warned him to stop or he would face punishment. Ethan nodded but did not promise to obey. He believed what he said was right. That afternoon, Myra felt afraid. She did not want Ethan to be hurt because of her. But Ethan was strong. He held her hand and said, "No one can make me treat you badly. I will protect you." But not everyone was kind. Some aliens in the city shouted at Myra when they saw her with Ethan. They called her names and told her to obey her master. Myra felt hurt but did not answer. Ethan stood by her side and faced the crowd. One day the situation became worse. A man in the market pushed Myra hard and shouted at her to leave. Ethan saw this and stepped forward. Without fear, he told the man to stop. The man laughed and said, "Who is this human to protect an alien slave?" Ethan did not back down. He spoke loudly and clearly, "I am Ethan, and Myra is my friend. No one will hurt her." Suddenly, other aliens came forward. Some were angry at Ethan, others were curious. The guards arrived and took Ethan and Myra away for questioning. They were locked in a small room. The walls were cold and the light was harsh. Ethan and Myra sat close together. They held hands, drawing strength from each other. "I am sorry," Myra whispered. "I did not want this." Ethan shook his head. "It is not your fault. We will get through this." They spent many hours waiting. Sometimes they heard the voices of the guards outside. Sometimes they heard angry words from other aliens. But inside the small room, Ethan and Myra found peace in each other's company. During this time, Ethan told Myra stories about Earth again. He spoke about the stars, the oceans, and the people who believed in kindness and freedom. Myra listened and smiled. These stories gave her hope. Myra also shared her dreams. She wanted to paint and write songs. She wanted to be free to choose her life. Ethan promised he would help her reach those dreams. Finally, the guards returned. They told Ethan and Myra that they were free to go, but warned them to stop their friendship or face worse consequences. Ethan looked at Myra and said, "We will never stop being friends." Myra smiled. She felt stronger because Ethan stood with her. They left the building and returned to their small house. The city outside was the same, but they felt changed. They knew the road ahead would be hard, but they would face it together. After that day, Myra started to act bravely. She stood up for Ethan when others spoke badly. Once, in the market, a group of aliens tried to scare Ethan. Myra stepped forward and told them firmly to leave him alone. The aliens were surprised. They whispered among themselves. Myra's courage grew, and she knew she was no longer just a slave. She was a person with rights and feelings. Ethan and Myra's friendship became stronger with every challenge. They learned to trust each other fully. Ethan never left Myra's side, and Myra never stopped believing in Ethan. Their story was no longer just about a human and a slave. It was about two souls who found hope and courage in a world that wanted to keep them apart. Together they faced the darkness and dreamed of a new dawn where freedom and love could grow, even in the most unlikely places. News of Ethan and Myra's bond spread through the alien city. Some aliens were angry, but others became curious. The idea of a human and an alien slave living as equals was strange and new. It challenged the old rules and beliefs that had ruled their world for many years. One day, a young alien leader named Leora came to visit Ethan and Myra. Leora was different from the older leaders. She was open-minded and wanted to learn new things. She listened carefully as Ethan spoke about his kindness and respect for Myra. Leora looked at Myra and asked, "Do you want to be free? Do you want to choose your own path?" Myra thought about it. For the first time, someone asked her what she wanted. She felt a deep hope inside her heart. She looked at Ethan and then at Leora. "Yes," Myra said softly. "I want to be free. I want to live my own life." Leora nodded. "Then I will help you. The council will allow you to choose your future, but you must be brave." Ethan and Myra thanked Leora. This was the chance they had waited for. It was not easy. Some leaders still opposed the idea. They said it was against tradition and dangerous, but Leora believed in change. She spoke to the council and told them about Ethan and Myra's friendship. She said it showed a new way to live, one of respect and freedom. After many days, the council made a decision. They would allow Myra to choose her own life. They said it was a test to see if old customs could change. Myra was free. Ethan and Myra were happy, but also nervous. This was a new beginning. Myra had to learn how to live without being a slave. She wanted to be strong and independent. They began to plan their future together. Myra wanted to learn more about Earth and its ways. Ethan promised to teach her everything. He knew they dreamed of a home filled with laughter and hope. The day Myra was declared free was small but important. A few friends from both worlds came to celebrate. There was no grand ceremony, only simple smiles and quiet joy. Myra wore a new dress, and Ethan gave her a small flower from Earth. They held hands and looked at each other with love and respect. Their marriage was next. It was not because of tradition or duty, but because they wanted to be together. They chose to marry as equals, partners in life. Some aliens still whispered and watched, but Ethan and Myra did not care. They were free, and they had each other. Their story spread beyond their city. Other aliens began to ask questions about freedom and respect. They saw that old rules could change. They saw that kindness and love could grow, even between very different people. Ethan and Myra faced many challenges. Not everyone accepted their union. Some tried to stop them or make them feel small. But together they were strong. They showed the world that respect and friendship could break even the oldest walls. They showed that two souls from different worlds could build a new future side by side. Myra painted and sang. Ethan fixed machines and built new tools. They helped others who wanted to change their lives too. Their home became a place of hope, a place where dreams grew and freedom lived. Ethan and Myra knew their journey was only beginning, but they were ready. Together they would face whatever came next. Their love was a light in the darkness, a promise that even the hardest chains could be broken. They were free, and they were together. Life after their marriage was not easy for Ethan and Myra. Many aliens still did not accept their union. Some looked at them with anger or suspicion. others whispered behind their backs. But Ethan and Myra did not let this stop them. They held onto each other and kept moving forward. Every day, they worked hard to build a better life. Ethan fixed machines and helped people with his skills. Myra painted pictures and sang songs that told stories of hope and freedom. Their small house became a place where others came to find comfort and encouragement. One day, a young alien woman visited them. She said her name was Talia. She told Ethan and Myra that she wanted to learn how to live free like them. She did not want to be a slave anymore. Ethan and Myra welcomed her with open arms. They taught her about respect, kindness, and courage. Slowly, more aliens came to their door. They wanted to change old ways and live with freedom and equality. Ethan and Myra helped them all. They became leaders in a quiet revolution of hearts and minds. The alien city began to change. New laws were made to protect the rights of all beings, no matter their race or origin. The council listened to the voices of the people who believed in change. They saw that the world was better when everyone was treated with respect. Ethan and Myra's story inspired many. They were proof that kindness and love could break down walls and build bridges. They showed that even a human and an alien slave could become partners and friends. One evening, Ethan and Myra sat together on their porch. The stars shone bright in the sky. They held hands and smiled. They knew their journey had been long and hard, but it was worth every step. Myra looked at Ethan and said, "I never thought I could be free, but with you I found a new life." Ethan kissed her hand gently. "You are strong and brave. I am proud to be with you." They dreamed of a future where no one would be a slave, where everyone could choose their own path. They hoped their children and grandchildren would live in a world of peace and freedom. Their love had changed their lives and the lives of many others. It was a light that would never fade. Together, Ethan and Myra faced the future with hope. They knew that no matter what challenges came, they would stand side by side. Their story was a story of courage, respect, and love. It was a story that showed how two very different beings could change a world by simply believing in each other, and so their journey continued not as master and slave, but as equals, partners, and friends, forever bound by the promise of freedom and the power of love.